Okay, y'all, so today I'm going to show you how to do the custom Christmas stockings with heat transfer vinyl.
So we're going to go to File, hit New, and whatever you want your measurements to be, you put it in. I'm going to just say, for the sake of, I'm going to say a 10 by 10. That's going to be 10 width, 10 height. Click OK, and this will create my mat. This is what's called a mat. So this is my mat. Next thing I'll do, I'll come over to the T, which is the text tool. Click on that. Click on your mat, and you begin to type. So this is the font, and this is the name. So to be able to do anything with it, I'll have to come back over and hit the arrow plus. See the arrow here? The arrow plus. It's the move tool. Click on here, and this allows you to move your name anywhere on your canvas.
Mobility.
So if you want to come in and create another name,
Another one.
click your T, which is your text tool. It allows you to type. Come back over on your mat, click anywhere on your mat, and I misspelled, so just backspace. That's a great one though. See how easy that is? Hit your arrow, it allows you to move. Put it here. To save, go to File, Save As. Now make sure you watch this. You want to name it here, and I'll just put names.
And this is important because this is how you lose it if you don't do this step right.
Right here where your format, you want to change it from Photoshop to PNG. You want to save it as a PNG. Then you'll hit save, click OK. And now it's already imported into your software. So our software again is SCAL Pro.
And SCAL means shortcuts a lot.
Yeah, sorry. So I open a new mat here, and I just go to SVG. That's to import. Let me go back so you can see that. If you hover over, it says import. So click on that. And guess what, you guys? You know what? I didn't take the background off.
And that's a common mistake we make.
Didn't take the background off. So
If you don't take the background off, you won't be able to ungroup and group everything in your cutting software. So she's about to show you how to take the background out.
Come back to your Photoshop. Here's a layer. These are called layers. Click this eye. That's called an eye. Take it off. Now you see what your mat looks like. It looks checkerboard. See that? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to turn the eye back on. That's adding the background back on.
You have
It's
a solid
white
background at that point.
but I need to take the background out in order to save it so it'll be able to open in our software.
You want transparent.
Exactly. So come back, let's resave, go to File.
Do everything the same way as before.
Save As,
Make sure you have PNG.
Names, File, your format, PNG, hit Save, hit OK. OK. Now go into your cutting software. Again, ours is Sure Cuts a Lot 3 Pro, which is SCAL 3 Pro. So we're going to go back to import. And we are now importing it into our software. And it's going to take a few minutes because it's a large file that was created in Photoshop. I didn't, what do you call it? I didn't crop it, so it's large. The file is large. And voila, there you go. Now, this is all on one mat, one import. So in order to break it apart, to be able to size them individually and cut them, I'll come here on the actual name, right click, hit break apart. And if you look, I'm going to show you something. You can't move. You want to be able to move the entire name. So if I do this, I'm only moving the C.
Control Z gets
So
you back
Control
to
Z
wherever
gets you
messed
back
up.
to wherever you were. Exactly. So what I need to do is I need to group this one name. So what I'll do, let me show you what I did. I just take my arrow and make a box over what I want to group as one thing. And when you get all the arrows around it, the little box, you go on here, click it, right click, hit group. Now that moves the whole thing. And if you want to size this in SCal, I'm not sure of what program you use, but we'll come over here for width. We had our width for our stockings at
Remove your proportions
7.5.
so you can go in and change everything.
Thank you, thank you. And the height is 4. And there you go. It is now ready to cut. Make sure that if you're using HTV, heat transfer vinyl, you want to flip your image. Flip it horizontally. You want it to...
Flipping, also known as inverting. If you hear anybody say invert, that means flip.
There you go.
We read from left to right, but when you're working with HTV, the way the vinyl is created, and I showed you guys that in the last video when I was working with the Oracle, you cut on the opposite side. With Oracle, you cut on the design side, and with HTV, you cut on the flat or the matte side. And you want to invert your image, that way it'll read from left to right, because if not, it's going to cut from right to left, and it's going to throw you off when you weed it. So, well, when you cut it, I'm sorry. So, make sure you invert your image when you are working with heat transfer vinyl, HTV, anything you're going to press.
And we're done. So now the only thing that you have to do is insert your vinyl into your cutter, and the scissors here is to cut. You click your cutter and click cut, and it'll start cutting in your plotter.
You done?
And that's it.
Okay, y'all, so that was my mom explaining to y'all how to actually work the software, the cutting system, and Photoshop, if you can't tell the difference between our voices. So now I'm just showing you how I went through and weeded out my names. I had to take my weeding tool, dental tool, picker, whatever you want to call it, and actually trace around the lining of the letter to get it to release from the rest of the paper. And you would normally have scissors on hand while you're doing it, so you can cut like in between the letters. That way you don't get as confused as my hands did, as you will see. And that'll help you just remove it a lot easier. It keeps it from being so much in your view. So once you've weeded out all of your names, letters, images, shapes, whatever it is you cut, you're gonna separate them if you cut multiple on one sheet. If you were to just cut one name, you just move straight on to pressing. But I have to cut these because it's 3 different stockings that we're gonna make. I am sorry for the camera shaking in this part. If y'all can see how I have my phone set up, you will understand. So once all of your names have been freed and they're individual, just place them where you want them to go on the stocking. And you're probably going to move them again after this, but this is just giving you a general idea of where you want it to go. As you see, I'm moving that one around, just trying to see where it fits best. Some names will have to be placed different from others because there are less letters. Therefore, the image itself is smaller. Just showing them from the side what it's going to look like. So once you weeded out your image, you've cut all of that, it's time to press. Line it up on the stocking where you like it to go. So that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna put it on about like I say about here. So have that going there. Turn your stocking to the side and have the white part hanging off just to make sure it doesn't burn. Take your Teflon sheet, place it on top. Make sure your heat press is turned on when you start cutting. When you start creating your image, turn your heat press on because it has to heat up to at least maybe 160 degrees depending on what press you use. But make sure you turn this on as soon as you start creating your image or as soon as you start cutting to ensure that it's heated in time. Pull it over and press. I'm letting this sit for 10 seconds at 160 degrees Celsius. So Fahrenheit, I don't know how many that is. It's Fahrenheit because the C is on. Once your alarm goes off, turn. Remove your Teflon sheet. And there you go. Then you want to remove the sticky paper. And you have this. So you want to seal it now. Apply your Teflon sheet again. You can leave it on top. Apply your Teflon sheet again. Press again for another 10 seconds. And there you have it. Now we're just going to do the other two. And we'll wait. It is a very cold day in Georgia today. It's rainy. So we're comfortable. Second press. Seal it in. And push it down. And you wait. Another one. It looks cute. Don't press your hair, please.
Gotta make sure you have great pressure.
Definitely. That's why you hear me and see me struggling to push. You want pressure because that's what's going to make sure that the adhesive on the back can really, really, really be pressed by that heat and adhere properly. And you can see too the indentation is made like in between the glitter and the letters. So that comes from that pressure. And to secure that, that's why we press 2 times. I do this no matter what vinyl I'm working with. HTV, well, all HTV of course, but working with glitter, metallic, matte, foils, any vinyl, press twice to seal it. That's just my personal preference. I've learned with experience and from hearing other people's stories and watching that if you do it once, you're bound to have some bubbles sometimes or some ribbons. So just go ahead with your Teflon sheet. With some vinyls, you have to do it without to make sure that the heat is not blocked out. With some, you have to do it with. It just depends. Just ask your supplier, or you can go to YouTube. You can honestly ask me. I might know. Just leave a comment. And I lost my train of thought.
Well, we've been in this business for 2
Do not come for the edges.
years, and you also work in a supply store for this, so
Yes, we worked in the
we know
extras.
this.
That's what I was talking about. Yes, with your pressure, you want to make sure you have that down. It just depends on what type of vinyl you're working with when it comes to HTV. Again, HTV is heat transfer. This is heat press, which is transferred, and here you have it.
So this is a swing arm. That's a clamshell.
And the difference, as you see, and this is what it leaves you with. Hat press. You do hats. And now mug press for sublimation. So that gives you something like one of these. Where's the glue? I get it again. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate from. Fam Custom, Color Couture, and Lady of the House, to you and yours.